Big old Sierra fifth wheel. We're gonna go up and take a look at it and show you the roof. Roof blew off on the front section. All right, here's your typical RV roof. Put more on, more on. Look at here, already splitting apart. That's what they're gonna want you to do, put more on. More than likely, if we have the room, I'm gonna put a gutter on the back so all that water will drain right off. I'm gonna see if I can get, that light looks low enough. We should have enough room. So these always wiggle around. So typically, you know, you'll have these fracture out, or water will get right in there, and then it soaks in and it'll rot it out. I can't remember what year this is. You also want to be checking all your caulking right here, like that right there. Potential leak. Potential leak. Here I got a little checker tool that I use. But you can see that's already, see how it's just coming apart like that? I'm not even putting any real pressure on it. You know, just kind of, but that's going to leak in there. And what will happen is it'll get down behind there. If we get into the screws, run down. So we'll say, see, the screws aren't sealed either. So all that could get down behind this screw, and then it could trickle back in and then run down the wall on the outside, cause some delamination. So this is stuff you want to be checking. Check all that. Obviously your slide outs around your windows, all of that you want to check. Make sure they're sealed. We have a lot. We've got one that we're working on. We'll be posting. Well, it's probably already up by now, but it's a Class C. If you haven't seen that one, go see it. It's a Class C, 4 winds. We had to do all the siding and everything. So even right here, see how gooey that is? But what happens is UV light breaks all this down, this cheap stuff, and then that's why they want you, like right here, it's already starting to fracture, right here. So they want you to put more on, more on. And what the problem is that I resent a lot, I guess, is the RV industry. These are not real roofs. These are not the way you do a flat roof or even a low slope roof. This is not the way you do it. You can get online and you can search images for commercial flat roof images. You can do that search. And you will see that the vents, ACs, skylights, you'll see all of those up on a curb, basically. And a curb is just a box, but then it has flashing and counter flashing on it. That's the way you do a flat or low slope roof. This is not it. This is the quick and easy, cheap way out. They don't care. They just want to get them built, get them out, get them sold. So that's why they keep telling you to keep putting more on, put more on. You know, you get your package when you buy a new coach, there'll be probably a matrix in there that'll tell you what you have to keep doing, what to use, and keep slobbering that crap on there. And it's useless. They know it doesn't work, because if it worked, you wouldn't have to keep putting it on every 3 to 4 months. So obviously it doesn't work. It doesn't have properties built into it to thwart or reflect UV light, and that's what causes those things to break down. So once they break down, then you got to go out and put some more on. And in essence, all they're doing is exploiting people's ignorance to roof systems. And they're saying, oh yeah, this is the industry standard. It's a shitty standard. This is I don't even call it a standard. That's not a standard, you know, but everybody does it. So when everybody does it, hey, so right here, look at here. There's something else I want to show. Alright, so you got some here. It's kind of sort of stuck there. You can see it's gooey. It's like a butyl, but it's not going to stick to the plastic. And that's what will cause it to break down. You know, it's still kind of gooey a little bit, but, and again, I don't know what year this coach is. I think it's fairly new. But you can see that one over there. That's already missing some caulking right there. But that's how they get around. They say it's an industry standard. It's a terrible standard. I don't even know why you would even call it a standard. That's a shame. And then what happens when it does break down, and if you don't catch it, then bam, you have a roof issue. And so now you got, it feels like a shoulder on here, but you can see I guess a branch, or I'm guessing a branch, he caught it because it literally tore this front. There's supposed to be a metal term bar that goes across there, metal flat stock. That's supposed to be going across there. So it ripped it right off. There's a little scratch up there, and I think the branch come up and just grabbed it just right and tore it off, because you can see the holes from the screws. The wood is actually being pulled out. You can see the way the grain, or if you want to call it a grain on this stuff. So this is the way they do this here. They just put this This is drywall mesh. That's all that is. It's just drywall mesh. They throw that on the joints because you can see how the gaping is in the joint. So it just kind of balances that out so it doesn't have that divot, you know. But that's all that cheap stuff is. And then just throw some duct tape on here. It's already coming up. See, none of this stuff is sticking. So you got some staples under here. So we'll see. Hopefully we can salvage this. And then that's that. If you have, then even around the antenna, you know, I just go around like to check some of this. And some of it seems okay, but right here, and all it takes is a little bit. That's all it takes, that little bit right in there. That's going to leak. It's going to leak. And then we'll start rotting it out, and it's chronic. It's not something that's going to be like a deluge of water. That little bit of water gets in there, it's going to start rotting out the deck. When it rots out the deck, then when the roof deck can't hold any more water, then it's going to go to the trusses, then it's going to go to the insulation, then it's going to go to the ceiling. So some people say, oh, I don't have any leaks in the inside of my coach. That doesn't mean anything. Once you see it in your coach, you got some problems. So you don't want to wait to that point and go, hey, I'll just wait till I see something, then I'll know. By that time, you have a lot of issues. So you want to make sure all this is caulked. This is the patio awning. So you want to make sure all of that's caulked along there, around your windows, your light, everywhere. Make sure that all caulked and sealed. But the reason why they don't do the roof systems like we do them here is because it's too time consuming. It's too time consuming for them to do it right. There's a video that Jaco put together. It's just a little travel trailer, but they brag about being able to put that together in 7 hours. It's going to take me a week to put this together. So you also want to check, see if you got any fracturing. I think looks like one right there. I don't think that's a dirt mark. Right in here, that looks like it may be a crack, and we'll know. If I have to, I just obviously replace it. But what happens on these skylights is the sun will sit on this thing, get real hot, and then you get a thunderstorm. So now when it's real hot, we'll go back up. When it's real hot, it's contracting. So it's actually pushing against these screws because it's trying to expand. And then you get a thunder shower, and that thunder shower will just quickly make it contract. And when it does, then it's pulling. It'll shrink back. It's not anything you could probably measure, but it's enough to where these screws, basically it's doing this motion here, and that's what causes those little fractures in there. So you want to check that pretty good. We don't screw them down. If you've watched the other videos, you'll see I just glue them all down to not have that issue. But this is one, obviously the roof came apart here. So let's see if I can show you with those. See how this thing just got jerked out, pulled out. So that was a tree branch. Now normally insurance will not cover a roof blow off. They really won't, not unless you have damage like this. It's showing that it got jerked out, but they won't cover it because they call that a manufacturer's defect. They don't pay for manufacturer's defect. You go out and buy and you spend $65,000, $75,000, $80,000 or even more, or whatever they're running now, but you get that and then it falls apart because they didn't do it right. Now it's out of warranty, and then your insurance company goes, no, we're not going to pay for it. Oh crap, now you got to pay for a roof to be put on here, right? That ain't fair, but that's just the way they do it. So OSB has a smooth side and it's got a rough side. So the smooth side is not by design. The smooth side, the reason why it's smooth is because when they make OSB, they press it in this huge press. They put everything on there, and all the resins get mixed in with it. But there's a big plate that comes up and it kind of squashes it, right? When it just powers up. But to make sure that the resins don't stick to the plate, they put wax on it. So really what it is it's a wax side and a rough side. So it's not by design, it's just, by default. So a lot of people will put, and these manufacturers will put the wax side up because it's smoother, and it makes the roofing look much better and much smoother. Because if you put the chip side up, the one that's more rough, then you'll see all the little orientations in the chips. You'd see them all through the roofing because it's so thin. This stuff is junk. This is just TPO. This is cheap ass TPO. That's all it is. That's what it feels like. So that's about us. So we're gonna get to work, take this thing apart. You know, like I said, you got some more issues here. Again, go around your windows. You can do all this. So we open up the slide out. One of the gaskets I'm missing, actually, this is part of it. That's on the inside. So I ordered some more gasket. I'll put some on there. And we'll get that. So we're gonna get ready to try to take this thing apart and get her on here. All right, on here, our little or big Sierra. So I don't know if I have that on, man. I gotta show that. Anyhow, I got a comment on my YouTube channel. Some guy says that I shouldn't be such a loudmouth and call out all these manufacturers to how shitty they build these things, because then it would hurt my business and I wouldn't have one. So I don't think there's a shortage of shitty campers out there. I really don't. But you know, appreciate his concern just the same. You know. But the reason why I do that, and the reason why I call it out, is because I want people to see how these things are built. Get up on the roof. If you're going to go buy one, get up on the roof. So you look at this roof and you go, all right, well, obviously, you know, if this roof was completed, I just cut that square out for a sample for somebody. But anyhow, this is blown off in the front. I already showed you all that, right? So that's why it's in here, right? So we'll say this whole thing was just fine. It was just fine, okay? And you get up there and you're just looking. You just look. See the roof is all there. Well, some of the things you want to look for is right here. There's enough caulking on here, that's for sure. You can see that kind of dark shadow line right there. That's breached. That's already breached. You want to come up here and you want to look at all this caulking. Make sure it's, and really like put your finger to it and kind of make sure that it's on there, you know, because this stuff here, I'm not a fan of it anyways. It's a cash cow. So typically this type of caulking will start to fracture out. It's just kind of like a butyl acrylic. It'll fracture out and you get these little fractures. I'll show you. But anyhow, getting back to you coming up on the, you know, just looking at the roof. You go, yeah, there it is. There's a roof on there. You know, I'm going to show you something here. I just wrote it here. But this one over here is leaking. That's a leak. Right there. So as I was working over here, you know, taking all the screws out, and you can see all the fracturing in these things. That's what you're looking for. There's more on that one. I'm just not tall enough to show you. But this is the hole. Okay? That's all. That's gone. That's what I do with my knife. It's over this side. Let me go get it. So now you look at it, you don't think there's anything there. I mean, you know that because I wrote it on there, but if you look, get up here and walk around. Look at these things. So when they go, hey, I want this, and you get up there and you go, hey, I need a roof. But look at all that. So, what do you think of that? So if you're walking around and that happened, then you know you got a leak. And it started all the way up there. I could even reach it a little bit more. I don't know if I can. Okay. Started right there. All leaking. So he would have needed a roof anyways. But that just kind of propagated it. All that up there blowing off. So get up here and walk around. Get up here and take a look at what's going on. These are some of the fracturing that I'm talking about right here. They're going to want you to put more on. And I joke and I say the only one's putting more on is a moron. I'm not saying that to criticize people. They do this on purpose. They exploit people's ignorance to roof systems. So you think, hey, well, Keystone, whoever, I don't know who built this, but the manufacturer built it. They should know how a roof goes together. No, they don't. They don't care. They just slap it down. This is not the way you do a roof. So, you know, they're going to put it down what's easiest for them to get a 1-year warranty out of it and kick you out the door. You can't get an extended warranty on a roof system. So if somebody out there says, oh yeah, I got one, please send me it, because I want to read it. I have never seen an extended warranty on a roof. Air conditioners, sure. Microwaves, you know, appliances, sure. Even the frame, the chassis, stuff like that, they do, but not on a roof, not at all. Because they just slap them down, they kick them out, they go, see ya, you know, and when your 365 is up, now you're responsible for it. So they glue it all down to the OSB right here. I'm not really a fan of OSB either. So, I mean, I have used it in the past, but I'm just not a fan of it. We're going to redeck this with plywood, but a lot of times they'll have the OSB. They'll say, hey, it's got a smooth side, and then it's got a rough side, and it's not done like that by design. So you can go on YouTube and even watch how they manufacture and how they make OSB. And basically, there's a massive plate. It's huge, and it puts out like 15,000 psi or something crazy. Anyhow, they put all these little chippings in there, and then they have the resin all mixed with it, and they have this plate that comes up and squashes it. Well, that obviously is what gets it to stay. That's what gets it to bond. That's how it works, or how it's all made. But to make sure that these resins that they're using to glue all these little chips together, to make sure that doesn't stick to the plate, they put wax on it. So basically, they just pushed all that wax into the board, right? Well, what's going to stick to the wax? Nothing. So it may not be so bad where it's, you know, like a big buildup of wax, but all you need is enough on there to make sure you don't get good adhesion, you know, and that's typically, you know, what happens. I think this one got clipped by a tree, but you know, it doesn't stick that well. See, I'm just pulling this up. I mean, I don't even have like I don't have like a pair of pliers or something. It's not glue. You can't do that when we put our roofs down. You're not pulling it up. It's not coming up. So other stuff we use, it's all commercial anyway. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. And like I said, if you get some tips out of it for that, get up on the roof, take a look at it, at least this way. Even if you do need a roof, and you go, you know, I like this camper, really nice camper, coach, whatever it is. I like it, but it needs a roof. Hey, it needs a roof there. And then you can negotiate that and say it needs a roof. So, you know, we're going to have to knock some money off of that so I can go get a roof put on it. And especially if you're buying it from a dealer, don't let them talk you into saying, hey, I'll put a roof on it for you. Because all they're going to do is as quick and cheap and crappy as this job, they're going to kick it out the door, and that's it. See you, bye. So we do, you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, then you'll see that, you know, I designed a different roof system for these. The roof systems that I do, these are commercial roofs. Literally, everything is called commercial. So if you go online and then search for commercial roof images. Go on there and you'll see vents, you'll see ACs, you'll see those, and even like that skylight down there, you'll see them up on a box, elevated up off the roof line. And those boxes are basically, they're called curbs. And they have a flashing detail and they have a counter flashing detail to them. That's how a flat roof functions, not like this. If this was the case, that this would work, trying to go slower with the camera, and this would work, you can imagine how much money some of these big plants, how much money they would save from not having to do all those curves and detail, because that is the detail and things like that add up for probably about 70% of the roof cost. You know, it's more than half. And again, it depends on how big and how many protrusions and so on and so forth. So, but as a rule, it adds up to, you know, more than half of what the actual roof in itself is, right? So they don't want to do it. They just want to slap this down, get it on there, get it out. You know, that's all they care about. Slobber some more on there, slobber some more on there. So they're just cheating you on that. And also think about this: with all this fracturing, they know this happens. That's from the UV light, right? Commercial caulking doesn't do this because it's designed to withstand the UV light. This is cheap stuff. It doesn't have all the properties built into it for anything long lasting. And they just bounce that back to you. So now you get it and you go, hey, I got a leak. And they go, yep, you didn't put any more on there, buddy. You got to keep slobbering it on there, you know. And if it worked, we'll say that. And you put it on, oh, I don't know, what's that, probably, I don't know, it's probably about 1/8 of an inch thick right here, roughly. Okay, so we'll say 1/8 of an inch. And you're supposed to do that 3 or 4 times a year. So we'll say, you know, 4 times a year. So what's that going to be, 1/2 inch? So now you got a 1/2 inch. And then you do it next year. And then you do it the year after. Then you do it the year after, right? Pretty soon you're going to have a moat going around here. Then the water will get trapped. When water gets trapped in there and can't get off the roof or drain, that water turns into a magnifying glass when the UV light hits it. And then it starts a whole host of other problems, right? So it's just, that isn't the way you do it. So again, I'm kind of bouncing off of that, like I said, that comment that I had on my channel. I pull my phone up, I may find it and show it to you. I just thought it was, or you can see it, I guess. I can't even remember what one he was commenting on. So then I'm looking down this coach here, and then right about in here, looks like I got a little wave going on there. We're going to do the best we can to straighten all this out, you know, and sometimes it'll interfere with decals, and you know, I try not to do too much because I don't want it to kind of ruin the decals or whatever, but I definitely do want it to straighten out and drain properly. So, but so that's, and then even right here where my knife is, this is so there's a metal shoulder that goes around here, and press on this, you can see it. I don't know if you can see how that's bouncing, but all I usually do is just tack a couple of little staples in this thing, and then these things come loose, and the staples come loose, and they start poking through the roof, and now you got another problem. See how easy this stuff tears? Although I have been hitting the gym a little bit. But see all those staples? So that'll poke through the roof, then you get leaks there. They don't care. You know, we glue all our stuff down. The only advantage to us having this thing like this is that when we take it off, we can salvage this. You know, but that'll be good because I don't have to make any. But these are the things you want to look for as you're walking around. Get up, literally get up on the roof. Get up on it, walk it. Especially around areas, you know, press a little bit with your foot around vents, around plumbing, anything that has a protrusion through it, you know, kind of put a little pressure on it. You'll know the difference of, you know, OSB in between the trusses that go across. You may have just a little sag, but you're going to know the difference of here and here, okay? You're going to feel that under your foot, so then you can barter something. All right, let me get to work. This is our roof deck. We are peeling up. This is useless. This is supposed to be a, I don't know if they call it a sound barrier or, but really a UV, you know, reflector type thing. It's not going to matter on ours. But we'll probably just cut it and drop it back down. Not very good insulation there, but this was this big spot I was telling you about how rotted it is. It's coming from that plumbing. Got a few of these up. So what we're going to be looking for is some wires that come up like through here. Just want to make sure that they're protected. When we get this up, we'll check it out. This is just nailed down. It's not glued down, it's just pinned down. You can't glue it down anyways because you have this. So you'd have to glue this down to glue the decking down. So, can't do it that way. So these, they just come up through the wood. Usually it's the 120 lines we're looking for, and they may be up in the center. Some of these, some run up through the wall, some come up through the center. Right there when you walk in that chase wall. When you walk into the coach on the right there where the bathroom is, typically, that's where some of the bigger wires come in. So but we're going to check them all. We're going to check the trunk lines. We're going to make sure they're taped up. And then we're going to put some BC grade plywood on here. Well, now we got all the decking off, insulation out. So now what we're looking for is those wires. You got a dead wire here. I don't know what that goes to. But we're going to be looking, making sure all these are all tight. All these, make sure they're all taped up well, and then if there's no breaching, we'll check that. We'll double check it, make sure it's tight. So we check all of these, and then what we want to do. See, now this is the first time I've seen these. These are ferrules, and they're supposed to protect against. I think someone just put some tape on those, but the whole idea to a ferrule is to protect the wire from, it's sharp inside, it's a piece of metal, so you don't put a fastener through it. I'm trying to see if I can show you. I know these ones are already kinked. I'm trying to show you on the other side. What it does is it kind of bears into the insulation. Once that insulation, I don't think we can see it. If I zoom up real slow. Let me get it, see if I can turn it around. See it this way. it leaves a score right in here. I can't even see what I'm doing. It leaves a score in there, and I know these ones are. You can see how bent over they are. And that's just a sharp piece. So what they were trying to do, looks to me like somebody was trying to protect that just with a piece of tape. That isn't going to work. This one's already got a gouge in it. I can just tell how, but I can't get any slack off it to show. Oh, wait a minute, maybe on this one. See how it's all chewing on that? Yeah, that's not a good thing. So now I put this roof back together. That one looks like it's already starting to puncture the insulation right here. Look at there. I'm dragging on it. I gotta check that now. So now we put a roof on it. And then if we don't check something like that, we put a roof on this thing. Guy goes down the road, goes to a campsite, hits a couple of good bumps. That's the last of that wire. And then he goes to flip a switch on. Breaker trips. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to call me up and go, "Hey Joe, you put a screw through something." And this is probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen. That way the whole insulation is just bared out. I got to check that. You can see it's all the way up there. I want to make sure now the main. So this is just a sheath that goes over it, and I want to make sure these ones, the white and the black, I want to make sure those aren't compromised. You know, we can live with this and just put some tape on it. That's not a big deal. But I don't want this compromised, and I got to get a bushing in there. So I'll show you the fix on that. But that's what we're looking for, stuff like that. That's, like I said, of all of them that I've done lately, that's the absolute worst. I've never seen it all rip. A lot of times they'll leave a little gouge in that sheath, but they won't necessarily break the sheath like that did. So, like I said, that's what we're looking for. And then, you know, anything else that's suspicious, we don't want to look at these trusses. These are gussets. I want to make sure those are okay. You know, you can see that this doesn't line up with that one. So when you put your decking on, you're going to have two different elevations. So we'll fix that. And then let's get back to a work alarm. So that's where we're at right now. So let us check it out. And I'm going to check that other one, that wire out better, and then I'll show you more on that. All right, so we've got the insulation back in. We made those repairs to those wires. Can't remember where they were. I think there was one around here somewhere. We taped up all the duct work. There's that one that was, there it is. Yeah, we cleaned it up. We fixed that, put the bushings in there so it won't compromise the wires again. And there was another one up there we did the same thing to. So yeah, those all squared away. So now all we're going to do is start laying the decking. And you don't need that. That other stuff is more like a sound barrier. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't usually reflect, that aluminum doesn't reflect enough UV light compared to the roof system that we're putting down. So it's actually just useless. But I'm going to get a couple more pieces in here, and then we're good to go. All right, so we've got almost half the roof already decked. Okay, and then what we're doing, we're gluing everything down. And you definitely want to staple these. You don't want to screw them down. And you see all the glue we got in here. So we glued it all down. We even glued it all the way up into the joint too, not just on the board. But when we come over here, we put glue on this edge too. I want everything all glued together. So it's just subfloor adhesive is what it is. It's a flexible adhesive. But that said, you want to be able to staple these down. If you start throwing screws in here, you're going to split these little trusses. You'll split them right over. They're too thin. If you start sinking a whole bunch in there, they use these little pin nails in here, but we're just using staples instead. But that'll be all glued down. That's the end of that deal. So also the other thing we did, we noticed some spots in here that just had some, like the insulation was really thin, so we added some more insulation. We had some left over, so we just threw it in there. So it's going to be, this is where the shoulder is going to go on. So, all right, we're going to finish this up. We're going to try and get our protective strips on here, and then we'll get a roof on this thing. Gotta get shoulders on, got a little bit to do. All right, so we got the whole thing redecked, all glued down. We got our protective strips in here. Then we put the shoulder back on. Got another protective strip at the back. We made a, this is a piece of metal that we put down and turned down to protect the phylon against the roof, so we don't have a sharp edge on there. And we already got this other side glued, partially. So we got the front side glued. Then what we're going to do is glue that other side. Then we're going to glue this differently, because it's got this transition right here. I want to make sure it lays right. So what we're doing right now is just taking basically a damp mop, real damp, just enough to get some of the dust off. So you can see some of the little, we want all that off of there. We want to clean, get a nice bond. So once that's done, then we'll put the glue on, roll the other side. We're going to take this other one, we'll roll it back, and we'll roll it down that way, because you got this little transition, which is going to create a little crease right here where it comes down. We'll have a little crease right here, and I'll take and fold that back and heat weld it together. All right, so that's where we're at so far. So she's coming along. So now we've got both sides rolled out. We already got this other one done right here, and we're rolling it now with that heavy roller. Make sure it stays down there. All right, we are done with that Sierra. She's ready to go. I want to thank the customer for bringing this in. Actually, this is a repeat customer. He had another coach we did years ago, and he sold it. And then obviously doing this one. So you see we've got our little logo on here. We put that on there so we can kind of assess how the roof's doing over the years as we come in for inspections. Also, if he does go to sell the coach, then he can say, hey, that roof was just put on. These, as a rule, the typical RV roofs are just notorious for, being junk. So at least you can say, well, this was put on there, still under warranty and all that stuff, because we do transferable warranties. One of the things you'll notice on the back is the termination bar was up here. It was an L bar. Just come down, and that's what cinched it. But what I did is I moved it down here and put a gutter on here to keep all this water off the coach, keep everything out of there, put some spouts on the ends. So we've got all that. Then obviously all these things, all of this is all heat welded together. I fabricate all of these components. This is literally a commercial roof. If you were to go online and then search for commercial roof images, you will see the vents, air conditioners, skylights. You'll see all of those elevated up off the roof line on basically, it's a the box, but they call those box curbs. So you can't buy them. I make every single one of these things. I make all the boots. I make all the, in the commercial industry they call those pitch pockets. Because years ago it would just be tar and gravel, and then the tar they call that pitch, and that's how they pitched it in the pocket, right? Hence pitch pocket. So this is a 60 mil commercial grade roof system that you're going to find on a hotel, office building, library. It's the same exact membrane. I buy it from a warehouse. So not only do we upgrade this roof system from an RV low budget roof, we actually upgraded it one step on a commercial level. So commercial level roofs start off at 45 mil. That's how thick they are. This is 60. So it's a structured membrane. That's what it is. And the structure has a weave in it. So let me show you some. Got some samples here if you guys are interested in them, but we're gals. So I don't know if you can see some of the little squares in there. Looks like a little screen. That's a mesh that's built into it that helps it resist against hail, tree branches, ripping, tearing, things like that. So it adds a lot of strength to the membrane. So you can see we got the three colors: the white, the tan, the gray. So this is again, it's an upgraded one on a commercial level. So all of this is all heat welded. Every bit of it's all heat welded in there. Okay, so we got all that in there, and you can see how we seal the bottom here. You got a really good pad of caulking on here. So I would like to see a cover on some of these, but some of them are kind of persnickety. This is not a vent that opens up. This is just an exhaust vent, this particular one. But that one over there, you should really try to get a cover that goes over it. It would just really help. Also, go over, the customer should probably go over all the windows, all the doors, caulk everything, caulk all around, everything around there, around the doors, around windows, latches, lights. Go make sure that's all sealed. That's where we find a lot of problems. So same thing, we got this is all heat welded in here. This boot, if this comes off, this is all sealed. This will just go down into a holding tank, so it doesn't matter. It's just going to go into a holding tank. Whether you put the other ones, when that cap pops off, it'll leak into the roof. So I like to change things to make sure we don't, if something fails, is there a fail safe to it? And this is one. So Also on the air conditioner, you can see we got these stands. That just gives it some balance. We got the curb up underneath there. And this piece in the front right here that you're looking at, that one right there that comes down, what that is, there's a counter flash like this that I designed into all of the curbs. So there's a foam gasket up inside here, right up underneath the air conditioner. And when the rain comes down and the wind's blowing, I don't want it to blow any trash or anything back into that foam gasket. I just want to try to steer anything away from there as I can. So this piece in the front goes below the counter flash of that. So it keeps pushing that water down so it'll wash out. That's the whole purpose to it. So we've get everything else done here. These shoulders weren't bad. They weren't, you know, we were able to salvage them, so we didn't have to fabricate any other ones. But I don't know if you can see down that roof line. As it goes, it just tapers down. The radius on this shoulder, this curve, is not the same as up in there. So there's a couple of wrinkles up here that there's nothing we can do about, because this one up here on the cap is sharper than this. You can't get the membrane to dance like that. It's just, it is what it is. And we pulled and tugged and glued and did everything we could. So we got the antenna back on. I'm not a fan of these. Sometimes the tree branch will knock that off, and if it knocks this off, then you're gonna have a leak coming down there. So, but we replaced all the insert trim, and we got 2 strikes of caulking going across all of the whole coach around the perimeter. So when we glue these on, the gutter on, it burps up, we strike it down, and then we go over it yet again with another strike, and then we go over that yet again with yet another strike. So we want to make sure it's all sealed up really well. I'll show you a sample of that insert trim here as soon as I grab it. Let's see if I can get around the other side. I don't know if they moved. Yep, they moved me in. All right. Cool. So the way this roof came down and then it sloped down this way, we had to, basically that's a pig ear, we take it, fold it, and then we heat weld it back in to get everything to line up. Then over here on the skylight, we don't screw the skylights down. Everything is glued down. It's all glued down. And then what happens on a skylight, so you got this outside skylight. If you go in the shower, you're gonna see another skylight or another lens on the inside. That's your inner lens, this is your outer lens. There's a cavity in there. So especially now it's October, so now, you know, you get a little bit of coolness, coldness up on here, maybe a little bit of frost in the morning. Then the sun comes up and it evaporates this off, but the whole piece is cold. So on the inside of this lens, it can't get evaporated, so it condensates down, it'll drool down, and then typically it'll start, you know, getting into the wood, the decking will suck it up, okay? And basically it's called dry rot. That's how the definition of dry rot. It's not really a leak, it's just temperature related issues that cause condensation. So keeping that in mind, when the sun does come up and it evaporates this off, I designed this solar fan. That's a solar fan. That will kick on. When it kicks on, it'll draw air. There's a ductwork that we put in here. It'll draw air through here, go up over that lens, go down, come back out, and then exhaust right here. So that's, it'll keep cycling, so it keeps it dry. That's the whole purpose to it. So if this pops off, take any one of these other caps and put them on here, because this is just an open cavity, so it will leak. We'll put tape on it or something. Get that covered up. So, you know, and then I can't warranty, I don't warranty the lenses, I don't warranty the fans. I mean, these are things that I have to buy, so, you know, it's hard for me to try to warranty any of that, that's for sure. So our warranty is for the roof system in itself, and this is a 20-year roof system. So any roof system that you get, even the one on your coach now, but the way that works is they say this product, this right here, they're saying this, what's in my hand, this is rated for 20 years before, you know, it starts getting to its failure point, okay? That's how that works, but they don't know who's installing it. They don't know the glue they're using. They don't know how they're welding it, the components they're building, anything like that. So there's no labor involved in that warranty. They're not going to warranty. It's just this. So our warranty, I don't want somebody to think that, you know, you come in here, we did all this work and kicked you out the door and just, hey, thank you for your money. come on back for your inspections. These are courtesy inspections. We want to see these come back. I want to be able to inspect it. My initial inspection, I like to see it about 60 days or no later than 60 days, shall I say, because these rack, twist, flex, move, and I want to make sure all the caulking is seated properly. I want to make sure everything is still staying. If I get another Sierra in here, another Sierra is probably going to rack and twist and flex differently than this one. I want to make sure we're addressing all the problems. Also, I want to see if we have any issue with caulking. Did I get a bad box of it? Was there a fly in the ointment, so to speak? I don't take anything for granted, and you shouldn't either. If you own an RV, these things are maintenance hogs. Get out here and inspect them. You have to get up on the roof. You have to touch things. Don't just look at it and go, yeah, it looks good. I mean, you actually got to put some, friction on the sealants to make sure that they are stuck and adhered well. So, all that said, come back. Like I said, the first inspection within 60 days. Then after that, come back annually. So when you come back annually, now this one here being October, he comes back in, you get November, December. So he's going to get a warranty from December of 23 to December of 24. Comes back in on 24, he'll get a warranty from 24 to 25. That's how it works. We do it annually. So if somebody comes in and they don't come in, they go, it's good. Yeah, you did an awesome job. Thumbs up. Yeah, great. And there is damage to it that we could have caught. Then the customer is going to be responsible for us to repair it and to put it back under warranty. So if you did miss your time to come in for warranty, you still can come in and we can check it out and see if there's anything to put you back under warranty. So, I do the best I can to try to make sure I keep these things watertight, but I can't do it if I don't see it. So if there's something that fails, like for instance, a skylight lens, if it cracks, I won't know that unless someone's up here all the time looking at this thing. You don't want to just take it for granted. So that's the front of that piece that I was telling you about, that counter flash is right there. Let me see if I can find I'm going to see if I can find that. Here, yeah, I see that sample that I wanted to show you for this insert trim. Now keep in mind, we don't sell anything here. Also, not only do we not sell anything, we are not, this is not a DIY channel. I put these videos together for customers so they can see all the work we did. That's really the whole design of it. I know other people watch them, which is great. And some people even get some tips out of them. But it's not a DIY channel. There's a lot that we do behind the scenes that I cannot possibly video the whole thing. That would just be too long. So, that said, this is the insert trim that we use. This is the one I'll show you what comes with it. This is the stock one, the cheap stuff, and it just slides in this track right here, see, in that track. But ours that I use has a groove in it, and it gets in that track. So now it's locking the water out as the gutter's sitting. It's locking the water out so it doesn't get in that track, and that's my goal, is to keep the water out and away from inside anything around the coach. I don't want it on there. All the screws that we use in here, they're all sealed, and the black is more rigid than my white. This is kind of soft. If I pull that out, maybe I'll have to really fiddle-faddle with it to get it back in. But anyhow, all the screws are all sealed on here. That's just the way we do them. So other than that, like I said, we're pretty much done with this. It's ready to go. And again, we want to thank the customer for bringing it in. If you have any questions, just give us a call. We don't quote on social media either. So if you have any questions, we do put a card up in the front and a card in the back where you can just give us a call, or you can email us or something, and we'll be glad to help you out with your particular project. So, we appreciate you watching. Care package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, it will simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining. You're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you try and do, you need to get up underneath the roofing. like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. You squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Put some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. What you gonna talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. We're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. And you're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers, fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably need some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. Oop, hey, there it is. Now you got the film. We'll take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of, there's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.